Well, great to have you, Katherine.
Yeah, nice to be here.
It's awesome. We've, my wife and I, Mel, have had the privilege of getting to know you over the last few years.
Yeah, I think almost 10 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
She was my first life group leader when I was
Wow.
19.
I actually didn't remember that.
Yeah.
So it has been 10 years.
Long time.
Yeah. Well, it's an honor to have you. And I know people are going to be encouraged today just hearing a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
And today we are continuing in our series called Testimony. And we're just talking about the power of Jesus and what he's done in our stories. And so today I just want to talk and have a conversation about you.
Cool. Very
So,
cool.
let's do it. Let's take me back to the beginning. Talk to me a little bit about your upbringing. Did you grow up at Central? Talk to me a little bit about what it was like growing up in your home.
Well, yeah, I grew up in Niagara. I've gone to Central since I was around 8. Yeah, I was raised in a single parent home. Church was like second home to me. It was my safe place. I loved it, especially worship. That was something always connected with. And that's one thing that was so powerful at Central was like worship has always been amazing. So that has always been my safe place, really. But yeah.
What was family like for you growing up?
Challenging. I think when you grow up in a single parent home, like my dad left when I was 8. And prior to that, my parents had a 3-year like awful divorce,
Right.
Real bad custody battle and everything. It's challenging because you grow up really fast. Like I don't remember being a kid. I remember being a little adult.
How did that affect your, as you think about faith, as you think of developing, what did that, do with you in terms of how you developed your faith and belief about God?
I think like God was a non-negotiable with me because of what was going on at home.
Right.
Like he was the only refuge. So when you came to church and you heard these stories, even if they were like Bible stories from your Sunday school teacher, I left being like, that's real. And I needed it to be real. Like I found like so much peace and solace in knowing that there was a God who wanted me.
Right.
And that wasn't ashamed to be associated with me or to call me his own. Like there were these principles about his character that I learned in Sunday school that I just clung to and just became kind of my life force, like as I kind of evolved in my faith.
Yeah. So for you, Jesus really meant everything.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so growing up, talk to me a little bit about you developing faith. How did you navigate some of the things in terms of your childhood, adolescence, even into young adulthood now? And
So I was very angry, probably until 22 when I started going on a bit more of a healing journey. I got hit hard with some mental health stuff, which in a different way showed me God's power and his nature, where I was all of a sudden like back to square one of having nothing.
Right.
And he kind of came in to like heal. So he started to heal a lot of my father heart stuff that I would have never given up if I wasn't in such a dark place because I associated it with my identity. So being so low kind of made me let go of things. And then from there, the past few years has just been gradual healing. Like even the past couple years, me reaching out to my dad who left and 20 years of no contact and God being like, no, like I need you to do this. And it's emotional because it's real. And it's my Goliath. That's how I describe it. It's my Goliath. It's saying, God, hey, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. It's the most painful thing, but I know that there's victory on the other side. And so what it's done is it's challenged me. Like I haven't just had to forgive my dad in my heart. I've had to forgive him in action and like be the one telling him or asking him, how are you doing? Not vice versa. So the past couple of years has been wild, but I'm so thankful because the past couple of years have actually challenged me, especially with COVID, to be so thankful for my story. Like so privileged. And you wouldn't think, I wouldn't have ever thought that would have happened. Like I'm thankful I came from a single parent home because I can now talk to other people about who God is in the dark places. And especially with pandemic, so many people feeling so isolated and so maybe left behind or like an afterthought can relate to all of that. And just knowing that like God is present and there's freedom in the pain. Like you have to face it. Like, and that's one thing, like every person, you do not want to feel that over again. I know when I started the process of forgiving my dad, I thought like, I can't feel the same things over.
Right.
And for God to be like, it's okay, like day by day, season by season. And I've now come to a place where like, I now have that healing and that wholeness,
Beautiful.
which I never thought would have been possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird.
So how did you navigate healing? Like for somebody who's watching maybe and who feels like, man, I have those same things, or I've been through the ring, or I have those relationship things. Maybe it's in a marriage or with their kids, or maybe they have an estranged relationship too. How did you start that process of healing?
So the first thing I did actually was go to counseling, because I was like, I can't do this alone. Like if I sit down with my dad, it's going to be bad, because I'm going to just vent, and it's not going to come from a place of God. It's not going to come from a place of healing. It's going to be pure anger. So the first thing I did was go to counseling, and through that, I entered into just a season of grieving things that I'd never grieved before, that I really realized as a child, I just shut down to just kind of make it through. And now as an adult, I just had to grieve so that I could let it go. And I had an awesome counselor, and she just said to me, like, Katherine, God's correction is his love for you, because you could be 60 and dealing with this, already having, parented out of your hurt, and now you've got hurt kids or you've got a hurt spouse. She's like, you need to see this as him loving on you. And that gave me a bit of freedom to just kind of lean into the process.
Yeah.
And I started just to pray, like, God, I don't know what I need, just give me what I need.
Right.
Like, I don't know what it is, just give it to me. And I just started to kind of let go of things that I had been trying to control.
Yeah.
And it was step by step of just like, okay, what's next? Okay, write a letter to your dad. Okay, cool. Next, sit down with him. Oh, great. And that was terrifying, but I did each step, and now I am at a place where I can look back and be like, I'm thankful.
Wow.
Because I don't feel defined by anything anymore. Things that I thought my entire life would mark me, I'm like, you know what? No. I know that only God gets to tell me who I am.
Yeah.
So.
That's so good. That's so practical. To go like, I need to get good with myself first, so that I know that out of this, what do I want? I want this relationship to win. I want my dad to win.
Yeah. I want him to be in heaven.
Yeah.
And it's doing the work. I think sometimes as Christians, we pray, and that's amazing because God hears our prayers and answers them. But sometimes we have to do the practical. Like, you got to take care of your heart. You have to sleep. You have to eat. You have to have healthy relationships to balance out the negative ones. Like, there is a practicality to God because he gave us a physical being. So it's doing everything kind of together.
Yeah. That's great. Most challenging part about following Jesus for you?
Definitely waiting. I'm not patient. And it's funny, like, as you experience God in different ways, you get to know his power. So you're like, why am I dealing with this? Just heal me. You can snap your fingers and this is good. And he doesn't always do that. There's a process. So the waiting, and I think big for me was that he's for me, not against me. That he isn't trying to take things away from me, because I can get in that mindset, especially when I'm feeling challenged, that like, God, here's another thing you're trying to take from me. And it's like, no, he's good.
He does actually want the best for you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your life message.
Okay.
If you were to think about the end of your life, what you want people to know about you, what you would want them to see in you through your life, what would you want them to know?
This is pretty easy for me. This is the one that I really believe in. Is just, you don't have to stay broken. You don't have to be in that place that you thought you'd be in forever. There is more healing in life than there is more death, and you really get to celebrate. There is joy.
Wow.
And there's thankfulness for suffering. So I know that one.
That's great.
Till the day I die, I'll be saying that. So
But I was thinking, as you're saying that, the scripture that, there's joy in the morning. There's a season for, hurt and pain and working through that, but joy is coming. Hope is coming. You don't have to stay broken. I love that God is our safe refuge, a strong tower, all those promises,
And it's an adventure. Like, it doesn't have to be something that always weighs heavy on us. Like, there are times to celebrate. And I think of when the season's over and we're in our new building, we're gonna get to celebrate. And how amazing, right?
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing today. And I love your story. I know people are going to be encouraged, and praying that people will experience healing and restoration because of some of the things you shared today. So thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.